Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach, with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 67 as we face Real Madrid at Selhurst Park in the Champions League. And then we face Chelsea, who are down in 9th place in the Premier League, but are the side that, of course, we had a big battle for 4th with last season, eventually just edging them out and beating them in the Carabao Cup final too. So if you're looking forward to all of that, as you can see, we are starting to struggle with the multiple competitions at the same times. We have dropped down to 5th in the league, but the Champions League is going swimmingly, despite resting players against some of the world's biggest side. So if you're looking forward to finding out how we get on again today, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. Keep your eyes peeled tomorrow for a mini training series which will run throughout the week with 3 or 4 episodes. I'm looking forward to that. Sort of a follow-up from the Data Hub guide a few months ago, and hopefully you'll find it useful. And you can also find links in the eye above to the latest Review the 92, which will be back again soon. We've got another one of those recorded, and a Twitch channel and a football podcast as well. But let's have a look at what's been happening since you were last with me at Crystal Palace. And the truth is, until we played West Brom last weekend, we'd barely won a league game. In fact, we hadn't won one at all. We'd picked up 1 point in 4 league matches, albeit we'd played 2 of the top sides in that period and 3 away games. The difference, though, comes in the Champions League, where I don't quite know how to explain what's happening. I'm resting players to play against Real Madrid, and we're winning at the Bernabeu. Now, I know they've lost in recent years odd silly fixtures in the group stages and still got through. They struggled with the likes of Sheriff in real life this season. They got battered at home by Shakhtar the year before, but it doesn't make any sense. Let me take you through the fixtures very quickly. You were with me for Bayern and Leeds. We then won comfortably against Stoke in the EFL Cup. Diallo, Nelson and Rios got a goal each. We backed it up with a 2-0 defeat at Burnley. We were shocking. And it could have been more as well. We got a couple of injuries, and that maybe has contributed in the last month too. Boyer's been out a while, Rios out a while. We've had a fair few others too. We've just not been able to get a settled side out in each competition. We did get, though, the crucial 1-0 win at Monaco, which at the time I thought, bingo, Europa League football wrapped up. It was an early own goal. We picked up 2 injuries again, but we clung on. And Grabara in goal reassumed his number 1 spot with a performance like that. He then stayed in for the draw away at Brentford, where he was one of the best players on the pitch yet again. Going forward, we looked like we had nothing. There is the element of European hangover about some of these displays. After the international break, we did okay to hold City to a 1-0 defeat. Raheem Sterling with a first half goal. Another knock during that game, this time for Jayden Bogle. And in the chaos, have a look at this team. Jamie Shackleton came in at right back. Joe Willock came in midfield. We left players out, or had players out injured, like Selly and Boyer, like Jayden Bogle. Ever presence, Tahar was out, and we played Saceres, our third choice in the holding role. And we still somehow won the game. We were 1-0 down, we were 2-1 down, and as we so often talked about last season, we just finished strong. Martinelli and Vinicius Jr. with the goals for the Galacticos, and then Joe Willock got one back on a stroke of half time. His first goal for the club, not a bad one, was it? And then Tyrese Campbell a late brace. 2 brilliant finishes, Fox in the box stuff. And it was a memorable win, but not one that I can explain, to be brutally honest. We did back that up though with a 1-0 defeat at home to Liverpool. Again an early goal, Lenormand got a knock, but look, that could have been 5 or 6 that match. It was probably the most one-sided game we've seen against us. An EFL Cup win against Burnley on penalties, making up for the league defeat. It was Chris Tipple who got the goal there. It was a very backup side. And Rosic, obviously the hero from the spot kicks. And then finally, a comprehensive, almost like last season, away performance. 4-1 against West Brom. It was a brilliant display. Boyer came back, got a goal. Campbell got a goal. Bogle, lovely strike from right back. And Reece Nelson off the bench, replacing another injury in Diego Lainez. Got himself a really good goal too. So we go into this one a little bit better placed actually this week, because there's been 4 games between each of the fixtures. The Chelsea game moved to Sunday for TV. So we've had 8 days between the league games. Real Madrid smack bang in the middle. And for reasons we'll talk about in the training guides in tomorrow's episode, we've not got the same problems with fatigue that we would expect to have. And we are going to continue to try and adopt that. But I'm still resting people for the Champions League games because we have to be competitive in the Premier League. We've dropped out of those top 4 places. And look, with the squad we've got now, this is probably where I would expect us to compete. That little group between, let's say, 5th and 9th, because Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea I'd expect to be up there, but Wolves then would be in our pack. and Newcastle with the money they've spent. I'd expect that to be the little group, and we should be part of that now with the squad we've got. But we shouldn't be touching that top three, and Chelsea and Arsenal should really be doing a bit better, but it's not happening at the moment. So that's why the Chelsea game's so crucial. The big issue, though, is the Champions League, because Bayern Munich have drawn all of their games. They're 4 points behind us. Monaco have won, so we've virtually wrapped up third, which is great. I want to be in Europe after Christmas. But I'd probably rather be in the Europa League to give us a real opportunity. Otherwise, we go out of the last 16 of the Champions League and we don't really gain a huge amount from it. For Crystal Palace, it's probably more about coefficient at the moment. In the League Cup, we face Wolves away in a quarter-final. It's not a big game, not an important one, but it's on Boxing Day, so we'll probably rest a few anyway. For now, though, let's go and get in to the first game of tonight. The Real Madrid game is a big one. If we lose this, and if Bayern beat Monaco, it starts to look a bit more normal, like we're going to finish third again. If we get anything out of this game, if we take 4 or 6 points out of 6 against Real Madrid, we have to start asking questions about the challenge here. We've done it recently in our One Club story as well. I've just found since the last update that both games have put a bit too much focus on momentum, and it's almost become a little bit too easy, it has to be said. So I want to get a big crash back down to earth, and I hope it's soon to be coming, because it shouldn't be happening this way, certainly not in the Champions League. They've got superstars throughout. We saw the 2 that scored last time. There's plenty more where that came from. And this is the position we're in after the weekend. Diego Lainez is not fit. Tyrese Campbell has a heavy match load, so we'll start from the bench. Celion Boyer came back from injury. We're just trying to nurse him, so he's going to be on the bench for this one. Joe Willock scored in the Bernabeu. And then anyone else with a heavy match load, we've got to give a break. So Castrovilli will be out for Ndombele. And I think that's the sort of lineup we're going to go for. We have thankfully got Lenormand back. He can come in for Diallo to take us back to full strength at centre-half. And then it's just about picking a bench, which I'll do very quickly now. We'll be back in a minute to confirm our squad. So I've actually decided to give Boyer a complete rest from the squad just to look after him a little bit. We've got plenty of midfield options, so it doesn't matter. In fact, I'm going to be putting him on the bench because I haven't even put a left winger in. It's going to be Reiss Nelson, who's got a heavy match load, but it's just because he's made 3 sub appearances. He's only actually played about, 137 minutes. So there goes Boyer back onto the bench. The rest of it stays as is. I'm really pleased with where we are. We've got a couple of the youngsters there that we can bring on if we need to. So Grabara is in goal. We need another magic performance from him. Bogle and Teo the fullbacks with Mepham and Lenormand at centre-half. Zaha, Willock and Ndombele the midfield 3. Ndombele just starting to drop off a little this year after a great season last time round. Abdulkadir not in the best form. Reiss Nelson off the left. And then Chris Tipple up front. But Campbell, he's the one wild card on the bench. Scored 2 late on in the last game. Maybe he can do the same tonight. But at home, we've often struggled a bit more in recent seasons. So let's see how it works out in this one. Palace v Real Madrid. The home fans will be bouncing. Well, look at that Real Madrid team. It's 5 changes for both sides. The difference being 4 of ours weaken us. It's only Lenormand who comes back in as first choice. They're bringing in players like Renato Sanchez, like Alexis Sailmakers, among others. They've got Militao at the back, who we've seen in our last year save. We had a little stint at Real Madrid in the head coach. Courtois still in goal. Vinicius and Martinelli both scored last time and are there. Casemiro's on the bench. It's just, the list goes on and on and on. How did we beat them with a rotated side at the Bernabeu? I don't know, but if we can repeat it today, I'm going to be absolutely gobsmacked. First half at Selhurst, let's get going. We go straight from the kickoff, never a good sign. I need to get Nelson in as an inverted winger as well, which I forgot to do pre-match. And maybe it is that we're playing quite aggressively on the counter-attack. 3 players in attacking duties, really pushing their fullbacks. And maybe as we play the better teams, they feel they can come out and attack us. They push the fullbacks high. And do we get a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-3 often enough that we can cause problems? I mean, Tyrese Campbell, he's not the best player in the world, but he's a great finisher, as are the other 2 wide men. So maybe that is where we're getting a number of our goals from. I don't know. Though Real Madrid are straight in, 40 seconds gone. And Grabara is doing what he did last time. He made 8 or 9 saves in that game against Madrid. And now he's made his first one in the first minute as it's a corner for the visitors. Into the back post, Mepham heads away. He wins plenty of them to Abdulkadir. Don't forget, we still leave 2 up from corners and free kicks. We get counter-attacks out of them. I think maybe a lot of ours is shock tactics here, because in this save and the Hemel save, we're playing very different shapes, very different formations and tactical instructions, but we are playing quite direct to quick attacking players. And maybe that is just this year's thing. As we're 5 minutes to the break, it's been a very quiet half. Other English sides doing well. I saw that City won 4-2 against Juve. But at half-time here, we're 0-0. It's very similar to the Bayern game we saw last time, isn't it? Not a huge amount of quality, but we stay in the game and we quite often finish strong. We got an equaliser in that one. Can we do well here? Randall at left back with a free kick to Pedro. Alonso to Sailmakers. You would expect them to have too much. Can they produce? Here is Sailmakers. Just over the bar. A strong start to both halves for Real Madrid. But will we have our trademark big finish? Well, a quarter of the game to go, and I think it's time to start making changes. We've got to think about the Chelsea match too. I know it sounds really bad when we're 0-0 with Real Madrid, but Abdulkadir is having a poor game and he's shattered, so young Rios is going to get his chance. I'm also looking at Willock, who's been average, and Bogle at right back, who's struggling. And I'm going to go for Shackleton for Bogle, I think. And then we'll leave the last one 10 more. But I'm not sure we're going to cling on here because physically we're in a worse shape than we had been previously. 15 minutes remaining and Ndombele and Willock both tired. Nelson on the left wing tired. Tipple up front the same. Who do we take off? That's the question here. I'm almost looking at fullback and thinking, do we do it there? I'm not going to. I'm going to take Tahar off for Lojny. I know a gamble for a young player who's made mistakes when he's come in this season, who's learning a language, who's adapting to a new country. But what a moment for him to come on. As a youngster, as a wonder kid, he's getting a taste of the Galacticos. And he came on in the other game too. And I think he's going to be part of a clean sheet performance because Real Madrid barely laid a glove on us there. They had one great chance in the first minute. And after that, only managed 2 more shots on target. That is such a good defensive display. And it moves us on to 8 points off 4 games, unbeaten, in a group with Monaco, Bayern Munich, and in Real Madrid, who we've played twice. That's outstanding. And that's now where the Champions League group is, because Bayern drew again. 4 points after 4 games, which means 10 points is enough to get somebody through. If Bayern beat us, of course, that means we'd then have to beat Monaco, and they'd have to beat Real Madrid. But conceivably, if Real Madrid beat Bayern, we're through already. It's a ridiculous position to be in. We could be through on 8 points with 2 games to spare. I don't really know what to make of it. It shouldn't be possible, but I think it's going to happen now. We're going to be back in a moment to face Chelsea Sunday in the Premier League. A couple of these sides just below may have gone above us by then, and it could be a crash back down to earth because we have struggled after European fixtures this season, and that was a pretty big defensive effort. So we'll be back in a minute for our final game before the international break, and it's a big one. Well, fitness test time here ahead of the Chelsea game, and it's got to be said that the pressure's starting to crank up now. We've struggled with European hangovers a bit. We've got 5 sides above us in the league. Wolves currently winning their game and will go further clear. Arsenal have closed the gap to a point after finding some form themselves. Newcastle only 1 point behind. They're doing a little better. And if Chelsea beat us, they'll be exactly the same. So, as the European football have started, we've gone from 5 straight wins to 1 point out of 12. Yes, we're doing brilliantly in Europe, but we've got to start getting results here. Chelsea have got a wonderful side. It's not changed too much from last year. We know how good it was. And in terms of fitness, at a sold-out Selhurst, we're not looking great. The left side of our defence, I wouldn't normally worry about with an international break coming, but Teo and Mepham are 2 of those that will definitely play for their nation, so we've got to look after them. What that means is that Abdou Diallo will come in as centre-half. He'll get another game at the summer signing, as will Tyrick Mitchell at left-back. We're also going to see the return of a couple of the first-teamers, and Ndombele, who played in midweek, has announced to us that he wants to leave at the end of the season and won't sign a new deal. So Castrovilli in for him, and Selly and Boyer will play for Joe Willock. Up front, we're going to bring back Tyrese Campbell, and on the left wing, it stays Reece Nelson, because unfortunately, Diego Lainez is not fit. Rios will come in for Abdulkadir, who's really struggled recently. And I've just got to see if we've got 9 players fit for the bench. I don't think we have. So I'm going to have to put Teo on there just so we've got a left-sided defender of sorts. But we have not got a fully fit squad. And we are a little bit depleted for a very big match. So changes from the weekend are Diallo, Mitchell, Boyer, Castrovilli, Rios and Tyrese Campbell. 6 changes from the team that got a good 0-0 draw against Real Madrid. Can we back it up against Chelsea? Will the 6 changes help? Or will it be another European hangover against a very good side? Bit of a mix and match bench for Chelsea, but they've still got the likes of Hudson-Odoi if they need to call upon someone. The front four's ridiculous. The defence is pretty strong. The fullbacks are still the originals. They've got Dean Henderson in goal now as well. Rodri in the holding role. I mean, it's a wonderful football team. I don't fancy us to get a result out of this, particularly not at home where we've traditionally been weaker. But can the fans inspire us? We've got 2 weeks off after this. I just want to get another point at least on the board. Not sure we will though. Well, a quarter of the game gone. We've not seen much of it so far, but we're back with a throw-in deep in our defensive area. Bogle plays a 1-2 and then just carries it. Downfield to Rios and Selly and Boyer. He's got fresh legs and he is the best player in this team. Goes himself, is just wide of the post. Bit annoyed there. If he'd laid that across, we had Reece Nelson in, who again I've forgotten's changed to an inverted winger, which isn't helping him. And Bastoni picks the ball up at the back, goes long over the top. Don't want to get done by one like that as Grabara clears away. James heads back to his keeper, and I start to wonder why we saw that as Bastoni again to his centre-half partner. They are playing quite direct here, Chelsea, it's got to be said. We thought they would maybe keep the ball more, but Bastoni is looking straight over the top. Rodriguez has got himself in, and that's a fabulous block from Jayden Bogle out for a corner. We're surviving, Chelsea definitely the better side. They've had all the shots in this match, bar Boyer's one that drifted wide. But from set pieces, we're still doing enough. And do you know what? I know it would be the most boring, on the pitch, dull episode for you guys to watch, but 2-0 nils would be a fabulous outcome from my point of view. I really think they would be creditable results. No shots on target for either side yet, Chelsea having a lot more of the game. And just like the Real Madrid match, we're having to play without the ball a lot. Are the lads going to tire from chasing and chasing? We picked up another knock at right back. That's the big difference, the last month or two, to what we had the last season and even the first month. These lads aren't used to playing 3 games every week. And that's why I wanted Europa League first, so we could rotate more, but it's not happening. And as a result, we're starting to crumble a bit. As Diallo plays into Castrovilli, a goal here would change my mood. But it's a great effort from Campbell, tipped wide by Henderson. Almost caught him by surprise. Can we score from the set piece though? Somewhere we're notoriously strong. To the back post towards the Normand. Campbell heads in. VAR is looking at it. The two players were sort of tangling on the goal line. It's whether the keeper was ahead of them, I think, that we're looking at. Is it awarded? It's disallowed. Offside, but it was very close. Tyrese Campbell does not get the opener. We're back with a throw on the left. Tyrick Mitchell to Nelson. He's lost possession to Soler. Castrovilli flies in, but Kulusevski brings it away. And Tyrick Mitchell does pretty well, to be fair to him. Diallo gets it back. Wide to his fullback, who goes all the way back to Grabara in goal. And he plays out to Lenormand and Taha. To Boyer. He plays in behind to Alan Rios. Wonderful movement. Oh, he's curled it over the bar. That was a really good effort. And we finished this half very strong against good opposition with a depleted squad. I'm going to have to make another change, a 7th from the Real Madrid game. Bogle out for Shackleton due to injury. With half the game gone, it's 0-0 again, and it's a fabulous outcome. If we can play the best sides in the Premier League and in Europe and get 0-0 draws, I'm not complaining at the end of the year. We just need to be consistent against the rest. And that little 2.5 month spell as Boyer hits the woodwork. Great start to the second half too. If that little 2-month spell where we've got no Europe between Christmas and February, we can pick up wins consistently, then maybe we don't have to worry too much. The corner's headed away. Chelsea survive, but we are now knocking at the door. We've been very strong. 5 minutes either side of half time as Boyer's into the box. That's got to be a foul. Reece James has just flown at him there. There was no attempt to win the ball. And I'm sorry, that has to be a penalty. VAR are checking it. It is given. And it will be taken, I think, yes, by Tyrese Campbell. Has been pretty good in front of goal this season. Has scored a lot of crucial ones. This one is very important. We do well in the second half against Chelsea normally. And Tyrese Campbell has his 10th for the season. A fabulous strike from the penalty spot. And we might be doing it again, you know. We've had a poor couple of weeks. But I think on camera you're seeing the best of us at the moment. 58 on the clock. We've got another corner. Still not seen a shot on target from Chelsea. As James comes away again down the left-hand side. Trying to make amends. Finds Hudson-Odoi, who's off the bench. To Rodri. Up to Hudson-Odoi again. Up against Shackleton. I wouldn't fancy our fullback's chances. Hudson-Odoi cuts inside to Lukaku. Great turn, but Castrovilli gets it away. Bit more luck than judgment in the way that bounced up for him. Bastoni, wide to Chilwell, and Mason Mount and Hudson-Odoi, up to Lukaku again, Diallo does well. For a makeshift defence, it's not doing bad, is it? Lenormand's the only first choice one left, and Grabara's saving the day for us, as Boyer finds Shackleton to Alan Rios. Good challenge Chilwell, it's another long highlight, gotta lead to something. Soler, up to Lukaku, got runners off him, Kulusevski to Reece James to Lukaku. That is a wonderful move from Chelsea. And I know they've come back to level against us, but you've got to applaud a goal of that class. It was absolutely sublime, we could do nothing about it. It's 1-1 at the hour mark, their first shot on target too. As Reece Nelson loses the ball on the left again, looking absolutely shattered. We don't really have a natural change for him out there. It might have to be someone like Willock to go up there. What I did want to say as a positive, Liverpool losing at home to Brentford, they're another side in this mix. As Hudson-Odoi gets down the left wing, I think it's a matter of time now. Chelsea having another spell as Mount goes up towards Lukaku. Down for Soler, back for James. Be fitting for him to score after conceding the pen. Doesn't score, but gets a sort of assist. It was a key pass in to Hudson-Odoi. He went up in the air. I'm not sure who won it. James still credited with the assist. And Soler taps into the empty net as Grabara was completely stranded. So let's go and make our last couple of changes. We will take off. It's going to have to be Abdul-Qadir for Rios, who's had a really poor game, who struggled. And I think it's got to be Nelson as well. He's been our best player, but can we keep someone on the pitch who's struggling for fitness that much? I don't know we can. I'm going to take him off for Joe Willock, who's the most natural replacement available. And we're just going to see if in the last 18 minutes we can produce a miracle. But at this point, it's all Chelsea's to lose, as Mitchell's got a throw by the corner flag to Castrovilli. Wouldn't mind a late show here to Joe Willock. Be a hero. Oh my words. Joe Willock off the bench. The first we've seen of him. And he equalises. He did the same for us at the Burnabout just before half time. And he's done the same here against Chelsea to get us right back in top 4 contention. He's been a remarkable signing. Every time I say that one of the signings wasn't quite the highest level, I did it with Castrovilli. I did it with Ndombele. I did it with a couple of the others, Lenormand at the back. And I keep getting proven wrong by Dougie Friedman. We've scored again. And it's the other sub, Abdul-Qadir. Look who set it up. It's Joe Willock. Goal and an assist for Willock. Goal for Abdul-Qadir. 50th league goal of his career. It took an age to cross the line. And the Crystal Palace late show is here again. We continue to defy the odds. I cannot explain it for the life of me. But it is Crystal Palace 3, Chelsea 2. It looked like we were beaten at 2-1. But then Joe Willock came on, and another mediocre Premier League player who's a little past their prime, who we signed after losing out on the top 3 options and not having a big enough budget to chase a star, has come on and saved the day against one of Europe's big boys. Fabulous outcome for Crystal Palace Football Club. And we win again. Let's have a look at when we're going to be back. Well, as we see a scout report for a very good youngster who, again, I'd like to see our director of football try and sign. We got asked twice in our post-match press conference if we were lucky. And we weren't lucky. We had a super sub. How bad's the Bogle injury? It's alright, he'll be back after the international break. I think what we're going to have to do, unless it's wrapped up, we'll come back for the final Champions League group game, which is away at Bayern Munich. We got West Ham away just after that. There's some big matches in there. And then hopefully that'll work out nicely. If we can reach an EFL Cup semi-final, might be able to show one leg of that and transfer deadline day. If we're already wrapped up, we'll probably come back slightly later and show the United game as well as one other. But we continue to produce brilliance. We had a poor run in the Premier League, but the lads show up when you guys are here. And they've delivered a wonderful comeback against Chelsea, a gritty defensive display against Real Madrid, 2 completely different home performances, but 2 fabulous results in the circumstances. If you did enjoy the episode, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily content from 2 long-term FM22 stories. And also keep your eyes peeled for that training guide tomorrow. Turn the notification bell on to make sure you don't miss it. In the meantime, our Data Hub guide is just above my head. So please do give that one a try if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.